email address.
They're
Get
not
you?
ready. They're all
I gotcha. All
Should
right.
it be?
Good evening. Welcome to the regularly scheduled school board meeting for May 2nd, 2022. Welcome to those of you joining us here this evening. Welcome to anybody tuning in via the live stream or watching later on. Let me introduce the folks here at the board table with me. To my right, Zach Wall, Bonnie Lowry, Jan McGinnis. To my left, Karina Hernandez and Sarah Faltis. Here at the center table with me, Paulette Newbold, our board secretary, and Dr. Theron Schutte, the superintendent of schools. I am Sean Heitman. Our student school board members here this evening are Aaron Seeberger, Phoebe Hermanson, and Taylor Jones. I think those are all the introductions we need to do. We got a pretty crowded room. One other thing, we've got a pink sign-up sheet here on the speakers table for anybody who wants to speak at public comment time. Please understand that we allocate 5 minutes for speakers. Iowa law prohibits discussing specific employees of the district or their job performance. And in accordance with board policy, board members may not respond to your comments in order to comply with open meetings laws. With that, would you all please join me in reading the mission statement of the school district? We develop learners who have the knowledge, skills, and positive mindset to successfully pursue a meaningful future through personalized learning experiences. And please stand as you're able and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. With that, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, we have one.
I'd like to amend the agenda down in finance. I know I'm throwing you for a loop, Amy. Keep going down, please, to the one finance section. There we go. Incentive for 7th through 12th grade science positions. I'd also like to add the XLP position. So it would be incentive for 7th through 12th grade science positions and the XLP position that we have open. Please.
Okay. With that, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Lowry, Faltis, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carries 6-0. Adam? Never mind. Dr. Schutte?
So I'll go ahead and start. Well, the month of May brings forth a number of recognitions, and the one closest to my heart would be the school board member recognition month. So the month of May across the country as well as in the state of Iowa is School Board Appreciation Month. I think most people know, certainly the people at the table, the amount of time, effort, study, commitment that it takes truly to be an effective board member. It's a lot more than just showing up twice a month in our district or once a month in other districts on a 5 or 7 member board to do the job well and to help provide the leadership and support that our kids, our 5,000 plus students, our 900 plus employees need in order to do their jobs as effectively as they can and to position all kids for success heading into their post-secondary futures. All of the board members at this table commit a lot of hours in board subcommittee work that precedes meeting, serving on local community committees, as well as participation in service clubs. And then we've asked throughout the year, we ask for both in-person professional development that happens at the board table or in special board work sessions. And this board has historically committed to significantly improving their knowledge and skill as it relates to board leadership through workshops and trainings put on by the Iowa Association of School Boards. And that's why next year will likely be the 3rd year in a row and the 6th year out of the last seventh, that the Marshtown School Board will be recognized as being one of the top learning boards in the state of Iowa. So with that, I just simply want to thank you for your willingness to serve your school community in this regard, and looking forward to the year ahead. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There.
Additionally, tomorrow is National Educator Day, and the week that we typically look at as educator, encompassing everybody that works in educator to help the educational process. So all of our employees we recognize with Education Appreciation Week. And I think it goes without saying that we've got an outstanding cadre of educators, from first and foremost, the classroom teachers to the paraeducators and the building and district level administrators, food service, transportation, buildings and grounds, custodial, technology. Hope I'm not leaving out an employee group. Nora, help me if I am. But it takes all of us. It really takes a village in order to provide the highest quality educational experience possible for Marshtown students and families and the community overall, which is our goal. We absolutely want all students to be positioned for success for their post-secondary future, regardless of what they may want to do with their lives. And we want to be successful in that pursuit. So anyway, we've tried to periodically show those thanks throughout the year. I know that our staff, all of our employees, are very thankful for the board's commitment as it related to the mid-year incentive or work incentive and recognition that was given in December. And then again, the retention bonus, which had been designated for only certain individuals, for which the board applied to all of our employees, which was a huge lift as well. And I think showed certainly that we value everyone within our organization. So on behalf of the board, I believe tomorrow our food service will be distributing cookies as typically they've done. And those usually go over really well and are eaten very quickly when they go out to the buildings and the departments. So those will be sent out tomorrow. Adam.
Great. And we have a group of students we'd also like to recognize this evening who, all of whom had a really impressive performance at the state National History Day competition here at the end of April. So I'll ask all of you to come on up. The first group, I'll let them describe their projects in more detail. The first group is the high schoolers are Leticia Herrera and Yesenia Alvarez Zamora. And those two together qualified for nationals with their with an exhibit that they presented. And then Mr. Gilbertson, Charlie here, won the Military History Award, and he was also a runner-up for nationals and was named an alternate for nationals. So he also had a very impressive performance. And Mr. Lucas Hagan is an 8th grader. He competed in the junior division of the competition, and he won, basically placed in the top 3 for his his performance. Yes. So yeah, I'll let them get into more detail, but yeah, so congratulations to all 4 of you.
Well, my name is Yesenia Alvarez Zamora, and this year I participated with Leticia Herrera in the National History Day, which is a competition that inspires students to partake in the gaining of knowledge of historical events that had an impact on our society. This is a competition that's spread out through the United States and its provinces and territories. So we were able to go on to nationals and with our exhibit board.
Hello, my name is Leticia Herrera, and as all of you guys already found out, my partner was Yesenia. And so, like she also said, we made an exhibit, and the main topic that we decided to do it on was La Huelga, the struggle for farm workers' rights. And so, basically, in a nutshell, it was about the Delano grape strike, which happened in the 1960s. And the main face of it was Cesar Chavez, and he and his whole group of Mexicans and Filipino immigrants and also workers and citizens, they would fight for better rights for working out in the fields because they had no education, they had no breaks, they had no any type of civilized type of treatment. They had no type of civilized treatment. So they decided to work for their rights. And so we decided to choose that as a big impact that it has now and today.
Hello, my name is Charles Gilbertson. So my project was over the 1960 U-2 spy plane incident involving the United States and the Soviet Union. This event was in 1960, May 1st. It was a really big event because the shooting down of a spy plane was in a time of diplomacy, a lot of diplomacy in the Cold War, which is not really talked about or acknowledged. So, 1959, Nikita Khrushchev visited the United States with Eisenhower for a week-long tour of the United States. But, so there's great diplomacy going on. And then the spy plane was scheduled to go a week before this major conference of Eastern Western powers to talk about potentially disarmament and over East Berlin. So it's a really big deal, but then it got canceled because of a spy plane incident involving Francis Gary Powers, and he was shot down and captured. And this was exploited as a huge propaganda campaign in the Soviet Union. And this inspired distrust among the nations, among these two countries, which lengthened out the Cold War. And so it's really interesting throughout this topic to see, the diplomacy and the debate, it was this year's theme, debate and diplomacy. So it was really neat.
Hi, my name is Lucas Hagan, and I did my project on the Canning of Charles Sumner. The Canning of Charles Sumner was about in the mid 1850s. Massachusetts Senator Charles Sumner wrote and spoke a speech about how the brutality happening in Kansas and Nebraska, in Bleeding, Kansas, was horrible, and he called out many politicians, calling them out for their horrible deeds. In doing so, angered South Carolina Representative Preston Brooks. So in turn, he decided to walk into the chamber right up to his desk and beat him with a cane. So it really ties to the theme of debate and diplomacy. And my title has to do with the breakdown of it and how debate and diplomacy can be abandoned for violence and extremism if we don't debate civilly and act diplomatically.
So like the kids said, the theme this year was debate and diplomacy, and these kids are coached. Lucas was by myself. Susan Fritzel has the high schoolers, and Vanessa Engel had students at Lenahan. Susan's at Envirothon right now, so she can't be here, but these kids did a great job, not just researching topics, but developing a historical argument that then they showed through their exhibit, documentary, or performance. So thank you.
Hey, real quick, when is the national competition?
Well, their projects are due in May 17th. The national competition this year is going to be held virtually. And though we don't have a specific date, it's in early June when we'll meet together over Zoom.
Okay, thanks. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
To the consent agenda, we've got minutes from the April 18 meeting. Dr. Ryan, anything of note in personnel?
Yes, we have three outstanding folks retiring. And so I just have a few words from their supervisors to read under personnel consent. Amy, do you mind pulling up the personnel items? Awesome, thank you. Okay, so first we have Mary Borton and her high school principal, Mrs. Wyant, says, Mary has been a saving force in Marshalltown High School's Academic Success Center over the course of many years. Mary has increased her knowledge in math courses up to and including Algebra 2. When tutoring students, Mary possesses the knowledge of instructional strategies that help students connect with the math curriculum. Mary has made an impact for paraprofessionals in her advocacy for better benefits. Another big set of shoes to fill. Debbie has worked for the food service department for 23 years. Debbie is one of our most dependable workers, rarely ever missing work. She is actively involved in her church community and plans to clean the church to keep herself busy in retirement. We thank Debbie for her dedication and commitment to the food service team over the past years. Best of luck in retirement. That's from Lynn Large. And Debbie just won one of our Employee of the Quarters. And then Vincent Malo has been somewhat of a constant figure at Miller for the past 15 years. He would literally run to Miller in the morning, hustle to his room where he was undoubtedly developing and planning new scaffolds and support for English learner students. He is a passionate advocate for English language learners and has developed ways for students to access grade level curriculum through a dual language approach in English language, excuse me, social studies, excuse me, and literature. He has been a valuable member of the Miller staff and has pushed the thinking of students and adults alike. And that's coming from co-principal Dave Glenn. We wish these three the best in their retirement. Thank you.
Thanks. Looking at interagency agreements and contracts, there are 3 memorandum agreements with Iowa Jobs for America's Graduates. I assume that's 1 for Miller, 2 at the high school, and 1 at MLA. Hi, guys. I'm assuming you're going to talk about IJAG.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, I am Manuel Castellanos, and I'd like to welcome you all on behalf of Marshalltown High School's IJAG program. IJAG has been a huge help in my development and success academically and socially. It has allowed me to expand outside of my comfort zone and discover a lot of new opportunities that I didn't once have, being very introverted. I really enjoy the fact that we can go on field trips and we are able to have a nice learning environment that is really social and welcoming and friendly. I think that my teachers, Mary Foxon and Tracy Wright, have been the most inspiring factor in the IJAG program. They are extremely kind and have never ever made me feel as though I have done anything that has drastically impacted my experience in IJAG. And I really like their atmosphere that they have in the classroom. And I think it provides a lot of benefits for students who are looking for careers.
I'm Journey Blaylock, and I'm a junior, and I've been in IJAG since 8th grade, and that's when it first started in Marshalltown. And it's been a really good program, and it's really helped me figure out what I want to do when I graduate. And the teachers are really good people, and they're nice, and they really care for you. And yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So we've got the 3 agreements with IJAG. We've got an infrastructure Canvas cloud renewal for 3 years in the total amount of $71,079.20. A computer science elementary award agreement amendment to extend the period of the project through September 15. A computer information concepts contract for campus data change tracker the amount of $1,000 for 2 years with an annual recurring cost of $1,256, and a memorandum of understanding with Luther College for clinical field experiences effective the 22-23 school year. Questions about any of those contracts or agreements? Looking at open enrollments, we've got 2 in continuations for the current school year and 1 out for next year. I'll add anything of note in bills. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
McGinnis Hernandez, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Zach, we got somebody on the. Donna?
Donna Apple, 1405 South 4th Street, Marshtown, Iowa. I don't have to do that anymore. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to hurry. I thought I had 10 minutes. I have 5, so I'm gonna have to talk fast. I'm a retired teacher from Marshtown Schools. I was hired as an adaptive physical educator, physical education specialist, and I had several coaching opportunities. Coaching special needs kids was my main emphasis through the Avenue of Special Olympics. The programming was an integral part of my job for over 30 years, 18 plus years here in Marshalltown. We had a program that I ran, not alone, but I ran. When I say the word Special Olympics, what conjures up in your mind? What do you think of? I have some pictures I'm going to share with you. They are of some of my former athletes, and I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that you see in those pictures and why they're important. So if you think about Special Olympics, you may think about medals and people running or jumping or swimming or bowling, and they're happy. Their parents are proud. They're wildly clapping in the stands. And the person that is doing it is very, very proud of themselves. I went to the swim meet and the track and field meet this weekend. I don't know if you knew this, but there was a district competition at the high school. It's been at the high school for eons. It doesn't mean it's sponsored by the high school, but it was at the high school, swim and track and field. I went to the meet and I was enthralled by, again, the joy of competition. I saw many of my former, not many, I saw 3 or 4 of my former athletes that were swimming still. But the thing I did not see was any school-age children. Now, they might have been there, but I didn't see them. And I didn't see any from Marshalltown. What I did notice is that, you know, it's the same thing. I was here, I think, 4 years ago, and I asked you to think about what we're doing for kids. I pleaded with you and said, please think about having programs for all children. It was put on a committee and I never heard anything from anybody. So I'm here again. And I said, I'll probably be back, and here I am. The images that you see are students. It's very appropriate because graduation is coming up. These are graduation photos of some of my athletes. They all have a Bobcat uniform on. Most of them have medals that they have won. They are smiling. They are happy. They belonged. They were a Bobcat. They had the opportunity not just to compete in a one-day activity, but they practiced. It was a learning process. They're physically active. They learned how to be on a team. They made their parents so proud, but they were proud of themselves, and that was the most important thing. Dr. Schutte, you wrote an article in an editorial in 2021 in April. It talked about our new conference that we're having. And in that article, it was called Interscholastic Conference Provides Opportunities for Student Success. You said it should be a moral imperative for school districts, city governments, and the community at large to provide and support a rich variety of youth activities for students of all ages and work extremely hard to remove barriers for students and parents to access important educational and career readiness. Not new to Marshtown. I had 4 sons that competed in interscholastic sports, loved it, basketball, baseball, golf, football. But they also had a love for Special Olympics, and they had a love for getting to know their peers that had special needs. And those benefits that my sons received from being in athletics is the very same. And there are different things too that all children should get. Okay, not just a certain group. So I have to go fast here, but it's time to act. It's time to do the right thing. We can be a leader. At one time, we were considered a premier program in Special Olympics. I don't think we have to do that, but we have to give kids hope. We have to give them something to look forward to, some way to belong in their school, to take pride. And we're not meeting that need right now.
Donna,
Yeah, I'm done.
you're 5.
Okay, great.
How close are you?
Just about done. I cut a bunch out.
You know,
Okay,
wrap it up real
yes,
quick.
I will. So my question for you, are we going to ignore this, or, am I going to come back in 2 years again? Or are we going to try to do something that is right? You have the banner up. Is it good for kids? When I started here, that was our motto. Is it good for kids? It is good for kids. Special Olympics is good for kids. It's good for all kids. So I beg you to explore the options. There are tons of options now that Special Olympics offers, training and different things that can get people going again. I hope that you hear me. Thank you for your efforts on being on the school board. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Amy? And everybody else you brought with you? What, nobody wants to sit next to you?
All right, I'm Amy Williams, principal at Hoagland. I'm going to let my team members introduce themselves.
I'm Hannah Fons. I teach 3rd grade at Hoagland.
Mallory Kern, the instructional coach.
Angela Pelham, I'm the school resource specialist.
So our presentation today is going to be a lot about social emotional behavior health. And so if you can go ahead and click through, we start with the mission and vision as we read the mission statement tonight, kind of the foundation on what we try to also live by. I wanted to bring to your attention our core values. These are a part of our school attendance center plan. And so I'll let you look at those. Working to be advocates, we kind of really tried to underline some of those key words. And our core values go far beyond just social emotional. Of course, they have an academic safety focus as well. So you can go to the next slide, which is our power metrics. We expect students to be present 95% of the time, and unfortunately, we're about 92% right now. Staff present at 95% of the time. I can tell you we're definitely below that as well. I don't have the exact number on that. Teachers will collaborate through the PLC process. That's been great implementation. We have seen our student achievement data really show an impact of that PLC process. So we're excited to continue to learn and grow professionally in that way. social emotional behavior health professional learning for all, any building level PD we have had this school year. We've really tried to have an SEBH focus in some way, shape, or form. And then really getting stronger at analyzing our multiple data resources to decide what next steps and what interventions kids might need to be successful. These are kind of the areas that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a little bit about PBIS. Something we implemented and started this year is Bobcat Buddies, collaborative problem solving, morning meeting, and responsive classrooms. And we won't get into detail about all of these. The two that we'll get deep into is kind of the history of SEBH over the last few years. And then we'll dig deeper into Bobcat Buddies and morning meeting. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Mallory. She's going to go through kind of a timeline from an SEBH lens where we've been. And then she'll kind of step you through where we currently are. And then we'll get deeper into what Bobcat Buddies are, as well as how we've taken our morning meeting and really connected it to the social emotional behavior health, those standards that we have.
Okay, we have a few slides that go over some highlights that we've been working on the last couple of years. I'm not going to read everything to you. I'll point out a few highlights as we go, but we kind of started back in the 17-18 school year when we started working through some of the structural pieces we needed for morning meeting, including having dedicated time in the daily schedule for that, and providing learning for staff around morning meeting structures. Around that time, Hoagland, we also started working through structures for common building reteaching of expectations quarterly, in addition to some more as needed pieces throughout. And then if we click and go to the next slide, yep, we kind of jumped then a couple years forward to 1920, where we continued with the morning meeting structure, obviously continuing to add on to that. That year, collaborative problem solving really came into play. And so we had 6 to 7 staff members that were trained and participated in coaching sessions as we started to launch that work. And then that was around the time that we really started revisiting our tier 2, tier 3 SEBH team structures to have those be more data focused and really have instruction aligned with student need areas. And then 2021 was obviously a big year with some shifts. And so a lot of that year we kind of refined and adjusted things as we needed to for some mitigation strategies that were in place with our return to learn team, and then really continued that work with our tier 2, tier 3 SEBH team, which takes us to this year where we are now. And like Amy said, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into Bobcat Buddies. Hannah's going to talk about that here in a minute, and morning meeting. Angela's going to dig into that a little bit, but we've really done some work with restructuring some of our teams into some subcommittees to kind of divide and conquer some of that work and get more accomplished. And then dug quite a bit into the SEL competencies with learning targets to help us plan for some building-wide morning meeting. Angela will expand on that in a minute. And then if you go to the next slide, a couple of other big pieces we've been working on are positive postcards. So every month we do staff to staff postcards. So every staff member writes 2 positive postcards to a colleague, either to show gratitude or acknowledge them for work well done. And then each staff member also writes 2 postcards that are sent home to different students. Again, highlighting positive pieces of their day, what we appreciate about working with those students, success areas. And then we've done a lot with Student of the Month, where we have a monthly focus on one of our ROARs expectations, and students are acknowledged for that kind of in a school-wide way.
All right, so Bobcat Buddies is a new program that we launched this year. It was really born out of digging into some SEL work over the last few years and really realizing that what it kept coming down to was connections between students, of varying age levels, but also student and staff connections. So what we decided to do is kind of give each kid another champion, another person in their corner, another team that's rooting for them to do their best. So we took all of the students across grade levels, all staff members, including custodial, our food service workers get in on some of it due to some scheduling, not always. Our secretaries get in on it, and they've been assigned a group. And the purpose of that is just to build more relationships, to build more connections. The kids, we have kindergartners working next to fourth graders. We have third graders and second graders and first graders all working together, digging into the different focuses for each month. Our adults of each group are also checking in with their Bobcat buddies weekly. Sometimes it's little notes that they leave on their desks. Sometimes it's just a quick wave at the window as they check in on them or stopping them in the halls. But seeing the joy that this has brought so many of our kids really has made it worth it. So you can see some of the things down at the bottom of our screen are some of our monthly focuses that we've had. We try to align each month with a focus. We have a bulletin board that aligns with that and kind of reminds the kids where they're at with their monthly focus. So we worked on gratitude. We wrote notes to district staff, random acts of kindness. This month, our focus is inclusion and accepting others and celebrating each other's differences. So we're looking forward to another time to be together with our groups. It's once a month for about 30 minutes. We've been able to set aside at this point for that important work of building connections. So there you can see some of our cute little faces up there in some of our groups. They're one of the months they got to just bring their favorite book, and our bigs read to our littles, and our littles got to share their books with their bigs. So yeah, just some very important work that has helped to redevelop some of those connections that were a little bit more challenging during the period of mitigation.
Okay, so I get to talk to you guys about morning meeting, and morning meeting is honestly one of my favorite times throughout the day. It's a time that is set aside at the beginning of the day, every day. We go through the schedule, welcome everybody to the class. We have different topics, like Amy mentioned earlier, that are aligned with our SEL competencies and different learning targets. Morning meeting is a time that all adults are in classrooms. So I'm in kindergarten every day, and all students are also involved. So not only do we do the schedule for the day, we talk about maybe some things that might be different, look a little bit different for the schedule. They always like to know what specials they have. So we go through that. But then we also get in a circle and we go through a slide. We have common slides for the whole building. So just depending on what the competency is and what the learning targets that we're targeting for that week are, it might be problem solving. It might be how to join friends at recess, how to make a request, ask students politely to stop doing something. So it's been really, we've done a ton of work this year in really making morning meeting meaningful and intentional and productive. We've been checking back with our PBIS team to get feedback about morning meeting, and I've heard overall really positive things. I think they appreciate the different things that we're trying to incorporate. Today, we actually did goal setting. We thought that was appropriate timing for our ISASP. And so our second, third, and fourth graders, they all had a little goal sheet. They wrote out their goal for the day. And then our kindergarten and first graders, I know that that's kind of hard for them. So they set a classroom goal, which gets all the kids involved and sharing. So if you want to go to the next slide, we have a video. We're just going to watch. It's about 10 minutes. It's a third grade classroom taught by yours truly over here. And we're going to just watch a couple minutes.
Today is Wednesday, April 27th of 2022. It is a day 2, so today we have PE. Lunch today is beef teriyaki bites, vegetable fried rice, carrots, applesauce, and milk. One quick announcement, don't forget, next week we begin our ISASP, and we'll do a little bit more planning with that, and then a letter is also going to go home to your families. Thomas, Bobby, Big Six, thank you. Go home to your families because we talked about the importance of getting good night's sleep the night before those tests next week. Okay? You have the yawnies this morning? Yeah. Hopefully next week you'll get lots of extra sleep soon. All right, today, third graders for morning meeting, it says, a lot happens throughout the school day. It is good to know the difference between small problems and big problems. As a class, can we think of 2 small problems and 2 big problems? So first, let's focus on small problems. So this could be in the classroom, this could be outside at recess, maybe in the line to get our lunches. What are 2 small problems? And who can remind us, what is the difference between a small problem and a big problem? Because we face these every day. So who can remind us, what's the difference between a small problem and a big problem? Wesley, what's a small problem?
A small problem is when it's little things and you can fix for yourself. But you can also make the small problems into a big problem, like if you lie.
Okay, so Wesley said small problems are little things that we can fix ourselves. However, small problems can become big problems. So who can help us out? What's a big problem then? Thomas, what's a big problem?
A big problem is like when you're like on the monkey bars and then you fall and then your leg starts to hurt and you start bleeding.
Okay, so when someone's like really hurt or in danger or feeling threatened, those would definitely be big problems. Okay, so what are 2 small problems that maybe think just in the last week? We're not going to use names, we're going to be.
So as you can see, a lot of times we have everybody share. We aren't going to watch the whole video, but most of the kids will eventually share. And they get to give their perspective, share examples, give input. We think it's important that all kids have a voice and everyone is heard. And adults are often modeling, prompting. We'll put sentence stems up there sometimes. Occasionally we'll watch videos that give a good message. I think maybe our next slide might.
Today is when.
So here's a few pictures of a kindergarten classroom. We are talking about the big and small problem. If you notice their hands and their arms. So those are, it's nice to see them use their words that the information that they learn at morning meeting and use those words throughout the day and when they're problem solving with other kids and when they're talking to adults, so.
And with this kindergarten class, I will add to, when you saw those pictures, that teacher divided them up into 3 different small groups. And so they shared as a small group together and then came back as a whole. So there's lots of varieties of ways that teachers set it up so kids can have a voice and be heard and then share out as well. So thank you guys so much for listening to us, and we will entertain questions if you have any.
On the morning meeting, does every classroom work off the same prompt, so to speak?
Yeah, they do. The exception is, and I'm glad that you asked that question. The intent on that is they can go to PE and Mr. Cutright can say, I know you talked about big and small problems today. What you just told me, do you think that's a big problem or a small one that you can handle on your own? So all of our staff is included in morning meetings, so everybody knows what we're talking about. The other exception would be sometimes, and at the beginning of kindergarten, we did this, we needed to spend more time on just how to be a learner, how to be a student. And so we did a different set of Google Slides for our kindergarten classrooms. And we put our school resource specialists and our guidance counselor in those, at the time it was 2 sections, to really have another couple of weeks, because they were really struggling with interacting together, playing together, how to make a request, keeping their hands safe, their bodies, how to respond when a teacher asks a question. They just need a lot more of those skills. Teachers also have the choice on occasion, if they need to do something very specific with their class based on something their class is struggling with, they might go off script for that day. But generally speaking, we try to have everyone teaching the same part of our tier 1 kind of core SEL.
Go ahead, Jan. Yeah.
Just what are you using for tier 2 and tier 3 then?
Sure. So basically we take the SABRE screening data as well as office referral data and input from teachers. And looking at that data, we have a team that is composed of myself, school resource specialist, and our guidance counselor. And we try to prioritize student needs. Curriculum wise, we have positive actions. So that's our current curriculum, but we also have some specific lessons there. Zones of regulation, Angela, jump in. What else am I thinking of? Superflex, to name a few.
I just more or less have 3 statements. I just want to, what others in the community have talked about, how you've been able to adapt with all the new students come in currently to kindergarten. And I know that's been tough, but you've been able to include all students where maybe they come in, don't know the language, but be able to help them out and help other students too, so they can keep moving along. The second thing is nothing we talked about tonight, but I'm very proud how you guys have involved families with Team Hoagland, or we had reading, I believe, a couple weeks ago in the school system to brought families into our school system. The third thing, I would say positive reinforcement I kept hearing tonight. I'm very proud to hear about the Bobcat Buddies. And I tell you what, my kids love school, but I know when it's Bobcat Buddy Day. Yeah, they're out of bed, ready to go. And so I hope, district wide, we can look into this more and can build off of it. So the last thing with that, with positive reinforcement, those postcards do make a difference. They've had their friends over. They thought, hey, here, I got this postcard from, so that's great to involve the kids, and it makes them want to come back to school and learn to be connected with them. So.
Thank you, Zach.
Yep.
Other questions or comments? Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Handbooks, let's see. Dave, you were here like right away, so you and Kristen get to go first to talk about your handbook. You're next, Kyle.
Thanks for I won't tell you why.
All right, ours is pretty minor.
Yeah, we had a 9-word addition. 3 words were repeated twice, where we added some exploratory classes to our course offerings for both 7th and 8th grade. So it says, and some electives. And
Page 11
yep, on page 11.
and 12.
So if you look under 7th grade subjects and 8th grade subjects, so I guess I should take that back. That makes it, I was wrong. So 12 words. So, and then we also linked in under athletics, we linked in our athletic handbook, which is
Page 22.
page 22.
And does that athletic handbook get updated annually too?
Well, it may. This is our first year.
So
Yeah, we haven't
okay.
had an athletic handbook prior to this year. So when we put that in place, we added it to our student handbook for next year. And as we review how well it has worked for us, we may update it as well.
One thing that we did maybe want in our dress code is linked to the school board dress code, and it hasn't been updated since like 2011. And it says that all leggings must be needed to covered up with a skirt. And circa 2022, nobody is wearing a skirt over leggings. And it also says nylons, and I don't even know if any student knows what nylons are.
So you guys may want to take a gander at that, because our nurse looked it over and she said, but then Dave and I looked at it and it's actually district-wide, so.
Okay. Questions? Thanks.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a great
Have a
night.
great evening.
All right, Kyle.
Hi, everybody. Two changes from previous are the 2021-22 handbook. One of them is just a typo. And that was on the video surveillance aspect down there towards the bottom. Just changed or to instead of. And the other one is to contact the Lenahan office as opposed to the district office, because we can direct all parents on how to access their Infinite Campus. We don't need to have them go to the district office for that.
Any questions?
That's it.
Thanks, Kyle. Rex?
On the transportation, we made all our changes last year, so we had no changes when we went through. So pretty simple. The only thing was a board policy number that you guys changed last year on the very last page. We just changed that to match up with the board policy. Otherwise, it's running very well.
Any questions for Rex? Okay,
Thanks.
thanks, Rex.
Thanks.
So is there a motion to approve? We can just do all of them at once, right? Is there a motion to approve the handbooks as presented?
So moved. Second.
Baltas Hernandez, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Do you want to talk to can you talk to the early graduates, Dr. Schutte?
Yes, we've got 13 total graduates being recommended for early graduation. We've got 5 juniors who wish to graduate at the end of the school year, assuming that they meet all their graduation criteria at that time. And then we have a number of seniors who have completed what requirements they had throughout the second semester of the school year preceding the end of the school year. So I would recommend or support Mrs. Wyatt's recommendation of these 13 students.
Do you need a motion for that?
Yeah, the list is dated 2021, but I assume it's really
Yes, it's
21, 22. That's just a typo in the years.
Template or
Okay, then yeah, we need a motion to approve the 2022 high school early graduate list as presented.
So moved.
Second.
McGinnis Lowry, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Ready, guys?
All right. I'm Aaron Seberger. To my right is Phoebe Hermanson, and to my left is Taylor Jones. And we're going to start off with President Heitman's slide.
You did it.
Prom, it happened. That was this Saturday. These pictures, as you can see, are from the promenade. It was super cool. They had all the lights off in the gym, and we walked through like candles on the gym floor. And these are the pictures that they took under the little setup they had there. It was super fun. And
A video of the handshake probably would have topped his request for pictures.
well, the handshake was fun to do.
It was pretty cool.
We very much enjoyed doing it. for those of you who don't know, the dip right there, that is me and my prom date. And we decided to do our handshake for the audience, and that was the finale.
It's great.
And then after prom, which started at 1 o'clock in the morning, we had a dodgeball tournament. And from the paying for tickets for after prom, we had some pretty awesome prizes. And the dodgeball team who got first place won $100. Second place was a $50 Casey's gift card, and third place was a $25 Applebee's gift card. And those dodgeball games were very heated. They were very fun. There was a lot of good competition at that tournament. And then afterwards, they had a hypnotist, and there were a few other like carnival games, bingo and stuff going on. So it was a very, very fun night. And then music. We have state large group contest for band and choir this Saturday. And I'm not sure where it's at. I think we go to Valley High School to do that. And then the band concert was last Saturday. I'm not a part of the band, but I went, and it was arguably one of the best concerts they've had in a while. They had a very good set of songs, and they performed them very well. And then the spring vocal concert is on the 12th.
So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday were the Drake relays. And Lily competed on Friday morning, and she ended up placing 6th in the discus, which was really good because she came in seated 23rd. So she way outdid her seed, and she had a new PR, 124 feet and 7 inches, which was really good for her, especially in not the best conditions. It was kind of rainy, so pretty good. And then the boys 4x1 also did really well, and they got 67. They take 96 4x1, so they take more than any other event for the 4x1. But I think they also outdid their seed, so both came in and did better than they were expected to.
6th place medals, right?
Yes, she got a medal, yeah.
And it's all classes combined, 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, so that's pretty impressive.
Yes. And then, so up until this point, baseball and softball have just been having open gyms, but their practices officially started tonight. They don't get to compete for a little bit though. Baseball starts or has their first game May 16th, and then girls softball starts May 23rd with their competitions.
Some miscellaneous information is that we have a step member recruitment getting ready for the 2022-2023 school year. We have senior decision day, which is May 19th and 20th, which will be exciting. There'll be games, snacks, and the recognition for seniors on those days. And then we have information from the blood drive that came in. And apparently the blood drive donated 38 units of blood and is predicted to save 114 lives, which is pretty impressive. And then some upcoming events for the next week is tennis versus Waukee Northwest, boys at home, girls travel. Unfortunately, we both got rained out today, so we didn't actually go there, and we were rescheduled for Wednesday for that meet. Tomorrow we have girls golf at Ames and tennis versus Fort Dodge and boys soccer versus Mason City. Thursday we have girls golf at Pleasant Hill and conference track, and girls at Waukee Northwest, boys at Fort Dodge, and tennis versus Ames on Friday, girls soccer versus Des Moines Hoover on Friday night.
I think that's it. Thank you.
So we also have recruitment for new student school board reps. Mrs. Wyatt's supposed to be pushing out the application. So anything that you can do to encourage people to follow in your footsteps would be appreciated.
Will do.
Hi. I don't have a lot to do with swimming,
but I do get called when things go wrong with technology. So this year, it was quite evident that the swim setup that had been working is no longer working. And there was really not a way to save it. So we did what we could to get through the season to be able to do some timing without a scoreboard and to announce those times. But it was really evident that it needs to be replaced. So what I'm here to ask you to do is to approve an RFP, a request for proposal for a new, it would be both the scoreboard and then the controller. I have listed up here what everything is that we think we would need that would be similar to what other schools in our district have. And that includes the computer, the software, and the controller for both timing and then the scoreboard. So to be able to actually know how fast the swimmers swam and then project it, actually display it.
So when we had our most recent improvement in the swimming pool area, which was the ceiling and the lighting retrofit, as well as the dehumidification system that was installed in conjunction with the AC. It was not anticipated at the time that we were going to need to be also looking at replacing the timing scoring system. But as we were going into it, well, I think even prior to us being able to use the newly renovated facility, it was it had come to our attention that our current timing scoring system, which has been there for a long time, has probably seen its best and maybe final days. So thanks to Amy for helping and the tech department for helping cobble together a system. And we've been working with Ryan Isgrig, who's been seeking vendors, potential prospective vendors, and getting good idea what it takes really to provide a state-of-the-art system to the extent possible. I know that we don't know exactly where this will come in cost-wise. We have an idea, and I know he's been working. The Booster Club is committed to helping support the purchase. I know there's some potential, as we have for some of our other scoreboards, for some advertising that will help support it, and it's going to probably require a combination of PEPAL or sales tax save funds through technology and our buildings and grounds budget collaboratively to accomplish it. But it's really something that we need to do for next season. So thanks for your effort on it. I know it wasn't necessarily on your list of to-dos.
Curiosity, was what we have in place today, did someone in our community or business partner help create it? What's intact today?
Yeah, great question. Actually, so I wasn't here when it was put together, but probably they said over 10 years ago, I think it's maybe even older than that, a member or a person who worked for Emerson actually programmed a little application that would pull the data that was going into the controller and then display it through a projector, which was a really great idea. A couple things. Once we updated the swimming area, the lights were so good now that you can't really see the projection. So even if we were to replace the projector, you couldn't see it. And then the program was intended for, it would be Windows XP. So we really shouldn't have a Windows XP device on our network in the first place. But then as we update that, then we would have to probably pay someone to write a similar program. So even if we tried to do the projector and a program, it's just not really a workable situation. So there were a number of things that made it to the point of unusable.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Absolutely.
Okay, but we were very, grateful for community to help and at that time, there were definitely other schools that were already going toward the type of display that I'm suggesting now. So I think it's time to just move in that direction.
Well, the RFP looks very complete, you know, looking through it, it's like, I don't know what I'm reading, but I guess there's a lot of stuff here. So somebody did their homework.
It's,
so thank you for
I
doing
know
your
more
homework.
about displays than I ever thought I wanted to know, but
Amazing. That's,
yeah, thank you.
yeah.
Well, I was just curious, Windows XP apparently was updated for 12 years and they quit updating it in 2014. So yeah, it's probably a fairly old
Yeah, it's,
system.
I think it's older than 10 years.
Is there a motion to approve the request to seek an RFP for a new aquatic display along with scoring equipment as presented?
Move to approve.
Second.
Lowry, Wall, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Alrighty, beginning of the meeting, we amended the agenda to include XLP or talented and gifted, another name. I'd like to offer the 5th through 7th grade full-time science positions. Right now, that includes 2 Miller Middle School openings we have for science. I'd like to offer that same $5,000 sign-on bonus. And then add also the 1 XLP position that we have at the elementary level. So currently we have a $5,000 sign-on bonus for all special ed positions and industrial arts. We did have one for French, but we are no longer offering, we're going to hire that position. So this would be adding the 2 science teachers currently that we have and any other ones that may be coming, and then the XLP teacher at the elementary level. Same rules with a 3-year agreement and things like that.
Questions for Dr. Ryan?
Dr. Ryan, what's the data? Have we had any leads with these type of programs at all?
The XLP position, for example, has been posted since December and we've had 1 applicant. And the science, I don't know off the top of my head how many applicants we've had, but nothing that has been a good fit. So we're really hoping that this 5,000 will not only attract people, but you know, maybe even pull them from other districts or new graduates trying to decide where to go. This, might be the little push that they need.
I think what he was asking is, has the incentive helped us in the areas that we've had?
Oh, I'm sorry. In the other areas? I apologize. I don't, we were just saying this morning for special ed, for example, we've hired some great people recently. I've seen more recommendations to hire coming forward, which is the process that they say, I want to hire this person. The problem is we're just losing more people than we're bringing on, but I think it's been successful. I don't know if it's been the #1 reason why people ended up choosing Marshalltown, but it was a great talking point. For example, at the career fairs, I know people were interested in hearing more. Other districts are starting to do some of these things, so I guess to answer your question, I think so. I just don't know definitively if it's been the one thing that's brought people here. I don't know. For industrial arts, obviously not yet since we haven't filled that position, but special ed, we filled several.
Did you say you think you filled the French position now?
No, we are no longer hiring that position for next year.
You just decided not to do it.
Correct. And then we're also offering it for 7th through 12th math. I didn't mention that. The 7th through 12th math. Again, I don't know if it's been the #1 reason people have signed on, but it definitely hasn't hurt.
I know you do your due diligence and kind of watch taxpayer money. And I think the strategy in the past is you go out there, look at the positions that nationwide or statewide are hard to fill. But I'm looking at this sheet right here. We currently have 44 openings.
45 now.
45 openings. What's going to be the strategy? At what point is this going to be every month, or what's the goal?
The goal would be to bring on 45 teachers. I don't know. The Department of Education has a list of not hard to fill. What are they called? The position, is it hard to
Hard
fill
to fill.
position? They have that list and these are part of that list. We are not obviously offering a sign-on bonus for every single one of those, but that hard to fill position list is growing. I mean, it has dozens of titles on there now. And so we are just continuing to do outreach. For example, for special education, Matt Kretzinger emailed on Teach Iowa, when you sign an account, you say you click what endorsements you have, and then we can pull that list of individuals. So recently, Matt Kretzinger emailed over 600 individuals who have the proper license. Now, a lot of those may be working and signed a contract, but we're doing strategies like that to do mass emails, attending all the career fairs. Matt and I have attended a lot of universities graduating classes. Even word of mouth, we've had, we'll get emails saying, hey, I heard my neighbor's daughter is graduating and can you get me contact info? You know, we're doing the best that we can. The more and more I meet with other HR directors across the state, we are all, even the small, tiny districts to the large districts, we are all on the same boat struggling. Even like the districts that are highly, highly sought after, like Waukee, for example, Johnston, they're also struggling to fill positions, and they're like the districts that are very popular.
The last question is 3 years, correct? They have to stay on our staff. And is that, I know other schools, a lot of schools are doing similar tactics. Is that kind of what the norm is, 3 years?
3 or 5 years is
Okay.
pretty standard. I'd say 3 is more common than 5, but you will see 5. But yes, so we pay the $5,000 up front and they sign an agreement. And then if they leave, they'll owe us the prorated amount for that 3 years. But we just hope this, as people are looking, also anytime I update a job posting. So if this is approved, now we'll go into all of those science positions and put, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Individuals will be alerted that there was an update. So this is another way to push kind of to those people who have indicated interest in those grade levels or subject areas that something changed. And so they might see this and that might push them to apply. So hopefully it brings the right people here to fill up our staff.
What's the additional opening, the 45th opening that's not on here?
Another teacher librarian position at the elementary level. I'll be receiving that resignation this evening.
I guess I would like to encourage any teachers that are watching that are interested in mentoring student teachers or practicum students to do so. I just am finishing up 3 student teachers here in Marshalltown. They all 3 had very good experiences. And I think if we can bring young people in here to get to know our district and to know our people, that we stand a better chance of getting new hires.
I absolutely agree. And Dr. Schutte and I have done a lot of that messaging to our principals as well, saying when those universities reach out, please do your best to try to find placements amongst your staff, because I absolutely agree, especially, once they get here and they see the culture, they meet the students, they see the teams. It's, we tend to keep them because they don't want to leave. Another successful recruitment tool that we had was this year we started the full-time substitutes. You all approved us to hire, as many as we could, full-time substitutes. So not just a substitute that works as needed or whenever they want. This was a full-time position, 40 hours a week with benefits. We were able to fill 4 of those positions, and next year we're bringing on 2 of those 4 as full-time teachers. So that was another great way to get people to the district so that they see and they're like, yeah, sign me up. So they're going to be joining as certified staff next year.
I think we made provisions to hire up to 10, didn't we?
Yep.
Originally.
My goal was 1 in every building. And I will say the feedback that we've had has been absolutely phenomenal from principals. It's when they get that report every morning at 6:30 saying, these are your absences today, it's just a little sigh of relief knowing that they always have that 1 extra person to cover. And the staff obviously are huge fans as well.
And I've worked in schools that have had the full-time subs, and another real advantage is that the students get to know the sub. So the sub has a connection with the students, which makes a big difference in the actual learning that takes place.
And I think it's always helpful when someone is in a building, they understand how the schedule work, how like those morning meetings, what's that all about? So if that constant presence is really beneficial, not only for the staff and admin, but I think for the students as well. And like you said, building those relationships. So we really hope we see more applicants come through. Again, if anyone's listening, you just need a substitute authorization to apply for that position. And if you work for us for 10 full days, we will reimburse the cost of that AEA course, which is about $100. And so to become a sub, we will walk you, we'll hold your hand through that process. We could really use some subs.
Is there a motion to approve the $5,000 incentive sign-on bonus for 7 through 12 science and XLP as presented?
Full-time science. Yeah, I should have put full-time in there. Full-time science and XLP. Thank you.
Move for approval. Second.
Hernandez, Lowry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Jan,
Oh, yes, my
Good.
policies.
good policies.
Okay, the policies I had were pretty short, so I'll just go ahead and read them. The first one's temporary disability. For those employees in bargaining units, absence or leave due to temporary disability shall be administered in accordance with the terms of the master contract. Employees not in bargaining units who are advised of a health condition which may require absence for more than 5 days shall inform their immediate supervisor as soon as practical so that arrangements may be made for effective transition of responsibilities to a qualified substitute. A statement from the physician recommending the date on which the employee should go on leave may be required. The district may at any time request additional documentation by the employee's physician. Pay provisions will be coordinated with sick leave benefits. Upon returning to work, the employee must present medical evidence that he or she is physically capable of returning to work.
So I'm looking at this, is the recommendation that it be deleted, Jan?
Is that what it's telling you to do is delete? Why would we delete it? Because I'm not. Let's see.
So we have a different policy that speaks to the leaves. And like, in the beginning, you're talking about go to your contract. That all that language is now in handbooks and it says how many days.
I
or
wondered
hours.
about that because I went back and read through some of the master contracts and I was trying to figure that out.
So we want to delete these because it's redundant and also it's antiquated with where language
Right,
is.
because some of them have handbooks and it's not in the master
Everyone,
contract.
so everyone
Yeah.
does. So this is no longer needed. And the board, there is a board policy that actually speaks to the different types of leave. So it's not needed.
Well, I did actually read through those and I was wondering about that. I didn't see this. Sorry about that.
Recommend to delete.
So is there a motion to delete 41411 and 41412?
So moved.
So moved.
Lowry, McGinnis, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. They are deleted. Adam?
Hello again. So I want to share a very brief update on the work with the website. So we have our next website task force meeting coming up this week. And we've also gotten the 3 blueprint options that we've been shown. I've gotten to run those by our career and or curriculum and professional development leadership team. And I think the feedback I got from them was that they really liked how brand focused the options are. They really focus on a consistent image for the district that we want to build up in people's minds every time they go to the website. And those are the branding's based around 6 identified points of pride. So those are diversity, college and career readiness, outstanding staff, community collaboration, extracurricular offerings, and Bobcat Pride. So it's very exciting to kind of see this start to come together in a way that we can see, and I'm looking forward to hearing the feedback of the website task force. Meanwhile, also scheduling out ahead of time the design phase meeting with the task force as well. So we're working through a lot of material, but it's starting to come together. So I'm very excited about that. On a personal note, I don't know if I've actually mentioned this to all of you in a group, but me and my wife are going to be having a kid here in September. So I don't know if I think we put it on Facebook already, but I realized I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't told you guys that like officially. So
What better place than, a public board meeting?
Exactly.
Now everybody knows. Congratulations.
That's all. Did you guys have any questions for me?
You know if it's a boy or a girl?
Yes, we actually just had our 20-week appointment, and it is, we had blood work done and it suggested a boy, and that was confirmed. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Adam. Looking at reminders, Bonnie, you have policies for our next meeting. There's a few committee meetings coming up as we get to the end of the school year. Our next regular board meeting is May 16th. Marshalltown Learning Academy will be presenting, and I believe Matt, Dr. Ryan, we've got a work session next Monday, correct?
Yep.
5 o'clock. Okay. Committee reports. The Auditorium Foundation met last week. Bonnie, do you want to, since you're on that committee too, you want to talk about that?
Sure. I forgot to bring my notes, so you can help, Sean, since you
All right.
were there. We did talk about our capital improvement plan and the areas that we wanted to suggest going to next. And both of those, there were two areas. It had to do with carpeting and flooring, and also wall coverage of the back wall of the auditorium, as well as the back wall of the bandwidth area. And both of those projects, I believe, are shared initiatives between the foundation and the school district. So those proposals will be coming to someone. I don't know if it's Todd or Dr. Schutte, who they go to, but those would be the two areas that we would go to next. We also had some conversation about the Formica around the ticket booth that has faded, and it's very purple now, and doesn't really, the color coordination between the purple and the rest of the color, it just doesn't go well.
Doesn't go
And
with the
so
decor.
the easy fix is we're checking in to see if there's some type of paint that can cover Formica and stick and look nice. And as a quick fix, take care of that. In a long-term plan somewhere, there is options for making that ticket booth area more ADA. And so if that happens, it's a total reconstruction of that ticket booth. And that's not something that we felt was real pressing right now, because we're not really using the ticket booth for very many things. I think men's chorus uses it, and there's one other function that maybe uses it. So, but right now, the two main areas are for the carpeting and the lining of the walls.
And we also talked about the installation of the sculpture out there.
Right. As you know, probably know, the Community Foundation, we did a fundraiser for public artwork to go out in that green circular space right outside of the Performing Arts Center. And it was to have been installed in December. Well, we're now into May. We've had concrete poured. However, the pour was not acceptable, and it will be re-poured. And so it needs to be taken out, re-poured. And right now, that piece of artwork is slated for installation the week of June 6th, I believe. So the the concrete
It's in
work.
June. I don't remember if June 6th or I thought it was the end of the month. but-
Well, it's either June 6th or the second week of June. And then right now, there's a committee that's been organized to think about community event to showcase the piece of artwork once it's installed. And also how to involve students at the beginning, well, this summer during a ribbon cutting, as well as at the beginning of the school year next year, bringing that artist back to interact with the students and have a little bit more ownership in that way. And our particular artist has also written books, children's books. And so there are a lot of things that we might get him involved with when he is here in Marshalltown, like at the library and doing a book read and a book signing and those kinds of things. So it's still all in the works. Unfortunately, we've been delayed, not only by having to do the concrete over, but temperature wise, and our last little conflict was that we couldn't get the paint that we needed to paint the piece of artwork. And so the paint was delayed in arrival. So there are just a lot of things. And I think that what we want the public to know for sure is that the project's going to be done right. It will be it'll be the best it can be once we get it done. We're not going to accept shoddy work. And so it's taking some time to work through all the little variables, but it's going to happen, and it'll be good when it's done.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What have we done this evening to improve education for the students in Marshalltown?
Well, you heard some really nice things at Hoagland with regard to children and how they're interacting with youth. And we have a board member here that says, boy, I know when it's Bobcat Buddy Day. So those kinds of things of developing relationships are real important.
We've talked about the things we need to do to get closer to being fully staffed. Things we can do.
I think the IJAG agreements were a big deal, especially, I mean, 2 kids came to tell us about it tonight. So.
Which was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to understand the impact that programming makes.
There's nothing else. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
McGinnis, Lowry, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. We are adjourned.
And please help yourself to food and